All right, welcome everybody to According to Andrew number 15, where I'm going to go through some fasting techniques, tips, and tricks that I have learned while doing some of this long-term fasting stuff. By long-term, I mean 5+ days of not eating anything. Uh, so if you're interested in maybe giving that a try, or just I don't know, want to know some more information about it, see if it's maybe something you want to give a go. Hopefully, you find this video informative. um, to give some background as to why I decided to do this, um, so I needed to lose weight. I tried doing one meal a day, which is how I lost a lot of weight when I was in like eighth grade, and it worked really effectively. But it only took 5 weeks because I was pretty young, had a pretty good metabolism, and I was actually pretty disciplined about not overeating. Something that I haven't been as disciplined about recently. So that was part of it. Um, and then I came across I think it's Dr. Fung. He has like 30-minute speech that he has on YouTube where he goes through like fasting and kind of the advantages of it. And uh, I don't know if he talks about a specific length of fasting, but he makes the very obvious point of you can't gain any weight if you're not eating anything. Um, and so I kind of use that as my like, there's it's the nice thing about fasting is it's foolproof. If you don't eat anything, you are going to lose weight. But I'll kind of hit some of the pitfalls, and then there's a lot of research that I've done. Thomas DeLauer, I listen to a lot of his stuff, but there's not a lot of people. I've come across a couple on YouTube here and there that have done like extended fast, like your 30-day kind of thing. Um, but I haven't run across too many, and uh, especially the people that can do it for 30 days. I haven't heard them talk about some of the pitfalls and some of the like. I can't do it for 30 days. I don't know how they do it. And there's various pitfalls that I've always run into that I can't seem to get over. And maybe there's some people listening to this that have tips and tricks that can maybe help me get over that hurdle and go longer. So the longest I've made it is 11 days, by the way, for those curious. um, so yeah, so when I first started to do it, I would do it like every other day kind of thing. So I would eat like on one day, and then I would not eat one day, or I would do like a 3-day thing. But as I was going and it was working, um, I moved up to 11 days, um, and I don't know, it was just something. I think I was like gonna. I always have it. I find it easier to make it longer if I'm assuming I'm going like if I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make it 11 days. It's really hard to get into the 11 days. But if it's like I'm gonna go for 14 days, like day 11 isn't as bad. Uh, so I'll do something like I'm gonna go 30 days and then I'll make it to 11 and then I'll have to tap out. And so it's like okay, I made it to 11. But like if 11 was my initial goal, it's a lot harder to get there. Um, so you um, so my goal was to lose a bunch of weight. My initial goal was to lose for this year was to lose, I think 60 to 80 pounds or something like that, and I had like a set end date. So I started at like the beginning of the year, and I had 3 months where I was gonna go super hard and basically just not eat anything and try to just drop tons of weight in this short period of time. Um, because I was like, let's just focus up, lock it down, get it done. And my goal was to have that. We were supposed to go to a trip to Ireland, and coronavirus messed that whole freaking thing up. But my goal was get get lean and mean by April. Go over to Ireland, pick up an Irish wife, and then we're Gucci. Right? That was the plan. Didn't work out that way. So, uh, you know, that's life. um. So yeah, what I would do is I would do 11 days on, and then I did 5 days off, and then I did 11 days on again. Uh, it's some of the pitfalls that you'll have while doing the fast. So the first couple of days are rough. Um, so day one, not too bad. You'll be a little hungry here and there. Push through it, not that bad. Day two, kind of similar to day one kind of stuff, not too bad. Day three, usually the hunger kind of goes away. Day three is usually a pretty good day. Um, Day four is where some weird things can happen. Between day four, uh, sometimes it happens on day three, but like day three, four, five, every once in a while I'll get this weird like muscle thing, or not muscle, but like it's almost like my blood vessels are constrained. Uh, it just feels really weird. I know you're not supposed to take like ibuprofen and stuff on an empty stomach, but that's what I do, and it gets me over the hump. So yeah, if you ever have like, it's hard to describe, but it's almost like that restless leg syndrome. Um, just just various pain. Yeah, absolutely correct, Ursa Delta. Everyone's got a plan until they don't find their Irish wife. So, yeah, that's where my plans just flew off the rails. Um, but yeah, so I was having my legs were having like constriction issues. If you just take two ibuprofen, usually fixes it, and it usually only happens once or twice throughout the whole thing. While I'm going through this, I'm usually only drinking water. Every once in a while, I'll drink coffee. Uh, and it's just what I do. When I first started to do it, I would also drink things like the the I think they're called Vita. It's stevia sweetened like pop kind of thing, and that just made it so when I was first doing it, you know, the only thing you get to taste is water. And or if you drink coffee, coffee. Like there's zero flavors. So like sometimes you're not hungry, but you just want to taste something. Um, so I found that useful. You know, other things you can do is I know there's like those little dropper bottles, or you can do a little lemon in your water. None of that stuff's gonna break your fast, so you're absolutely fine there. As long as you don't introduce fats or sugars in there. So if you're doing coffee, it's got to be black. Can't add sugar. Can't add. You can't do your bullet coffee that some of the keto people do. That'll break your fast. Um, day Around day five, 4 or 5. Uh, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but I would get like real bad keto breath. Now, advantage is you know you're burning fat at that point. No questions asked. The bad part is your breath smells like acetone and it will not go away. I Nothing I did could get rid of that smell on my breath. It was beyond like people always worry about like the hunger and stuff like that when it comes to fasting. Not a problem. Smelling smelling acetone all day on my breath and it like breathing out and going into my nose, worst thing ever. I could not stand it. um, that was, in my opinion, the worst part. Um, and that's kind of as bad as it gets. Oh no, there's one other thing. Um, so I wouldn't really take any supplements like salt and stuff like that, and so I think your minerals get thrown out of balance when you do this for extended periods of time. So uh, every once in a while, I would get like heart palpitations, or like it was really easy to elevate my heart rate when I was doing this kind of stuff. And every once in a while, around the day 11, on top of just feeling like I need to eat something, around day 11 and stuff like that is usually where that heart thing was getting to a critical point, and so I would end my fast then. And I'm guessing my salt levels were low, but I have no actual confirmation of that. I haven't done any blood work or anything to know exactly what's going on there. Uh, you might end up lightheaded the first couple times you do it as well. That's something else to consider because you're gonna have a drop in your overall blood levels as you're not gonna retain as much water and stuff. So you need to make sure you're drinking water pretty regularly. Um, and and then nausea. So everyone you when I first started to do this, I ended up quitting a lot at like day 5 because I would get nauseous, and that I thought that was like some sign that something was going wrong and there might be a health issue. that's just a lot of times it's like a natural reaction. If you push through that for like a day, it's usually gone by the next day. It does suck though. Um, the the fasting thing, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I found it's really easy to have a job and not eat all day because you're spending most of your day at work, and then you just got to push through like 4-ish hours to of not eating, and you're all good. And especially if you're like a single person, like I am, it's really easy to just not eat and stuff like that. Like I know now that I live at home and stuff, and my around my family, uh, usually dinner and stuff like that is kind of like a time that everybody gets together. Um, and so I understand that that's one of the restrictions that people are probably going to have with doing something like this. So it's obviously not for everybody, but for the people that are interested, this is information for you. Uh, so you only have 4 hours that you got to push through. You get a surprising amount of time back. Like you only really get like an hour, maybe an hour and a half back, but it feels like a long time, especially if you always cook. Because you don't have to do any dishes, you don't have to clean like the kitchen stuff, you don't have to go get groceries, you don't have to um, like cook the stuff, and then obviously the time eating. Like it doesn't seem like it should take that much time, but it's it saves you a surprising amount of time. So like when you get home, you might kind of be like, what do I do? Especially since, uh, like my main thing that I would do is I would listen to podcasts and stuff like that. And when I started doing this, I had like extra time, and I was like, what do I do? So, reading, I did some of that, and then I also started playing games again, to help distract me. Um, but yeah, another thing is you might be thinking of food a lot. Like, I don't know if anyone else has done this and had this thing, but when I was fasting, I was obsessed with cooking shows. It's kind of like that Jim Gaffigan joke, where he's like, when you're not hungry and you watch the Food Channel, you're like, oh, this is dumb. But then like uh, when you are hungry, you're like, oh, this is like porn kind of thing. It's like that kind of on steroids. Like I would watch Sam the Cooking Guy and like Binging with Babish and Food Wishes, like just nonstop, and have like a list a mile long of all the delicious, amazing looking stuff that they were making that I was definitely going to make the instant I could eat. And it's so funny because the instant you get food, uh, you completely forget that entire list. Like you're like, I'm gonna make all this stuff, and then like as soon as like just eating food satisfied, your brain's like, okay, I don't have to worry about it anymore, and then just like drops the entire list. Uh, so if you're working a job, especially if it's like a very mentally challenging job, uh, the at least my brain, I could not stop thinking about food kind of thing. Like I wasn't hungry, but like my brain was like, you need to eat. And I also had elevated cortisol levels that you don't necessarily realize until you eat again. And then you're just like, whew, and like you can just feel your body like relax, and it's a it's kind of an interesting experience. But yeah, if you have to, the first couple of days, like you can go till probably like day 5 without like diminishing returns in terms of like your cognitive ability. But like past day 5, some of your cognitive ability is going to be taken up by the fact that your body's like trying to figure out, it's honed in. You get like that honing thing early on, but then like past day 5, that honing thing gets shifted where it's like, I haven't eaten in a week. Like we need food. We need to like focus on how to get food. And if you were in an actual survival situation where you're starved to death, great, amazing. You would be like the best hunter kind of thing. But when you're when you're just trying to work a desk job, it doesn't work that great. Um, but you can make it work. So yeah, so the thing I would do is I would do it changed. So the first time I did it, first time around I did this because I seemed to do this from like January till about March. I've done that 2 years in a row now, 2019 and 2020. I did initially 7 days fast, 3 days not fast, and then I would alternate back and forth between that. And the 3 days just kind of gave me enough time to recover, because like day one you're not really eating much. You're basically your stomach's the size of like your fist or like a softball, and you like can't eat anything, and you just have to get your water levels back up. But we'll touch on that a little bit later. So it gave you enough time to kind of recover, and then like by day three you can like eat kind of normally, and then you're back at not eating. Um, so then after that, I did the 11 days, and then I did 5 days, just because like 11 days is a long fucking time. So like, uh, 3 days just felt so rushed. I was like, it was like barely kind of recovered, and then it was like you got to go back on this. So I added 2 extra days to just kind of relax, take a breather, kind of thing, and yeah, that allowed me to. Uh, I thought that worked out a lot nicer. Um, After that, oh, okay. So then, as you're coming off a fast, because this is probably just as important, if not more important, than the actual fasting part. Um, so while you're on a fast, you're gonna lose a lot of water weight. So like the first 2 days, don't get discouraged. I generally only weigh myself at the beginning of the fast and the end of the fast, because within the first 2 days, you'll lose like 5 pounds a day, um, because you lose like 10 to 15 pounds of water weight, because most of the um, water's held in your muscles with uh, and your glucose holds a bunch of water, and so does all the salt in your system. And when you are in ketosis, you've basically purged your body of all your glucose, and it's making ketones to supplement those functions. So you don't hold water at all, and then also you're just going to have lower salt levels in general. So because of that, you're going to lose a lot of water weight initially. And so I found it discouraging when I was like losing like 5 pounds a day, and even I knew it was water weight, but like it's still, you're like you're if you're measuring yourself every day, and it's like, oh, 5 pounds, another 5 pounds, and then it goes to like 1 pound, which is still good. You lost a whole pound of fat in a day potentially. Um, it's really good. Uh, I would, when I was doing the 11 day, I would at the end of the 11 days, I would be down 25 pounds, I think, and then over the course of rehydration and stuff like that, I would pick up 10 to 15 of those pounds again. And so I would end up, um, I would have lost about, I think, 10 pounds per time around, as long as um, what I was eating as I was coming off my fast, didn't do stuff to pack on the pounds really quickly. Uh, so when you're coming off the fast, a couple things you need to consider. You have to drink a lot of water, like a painful amount of water. Like you have to drink like 10 gallons of water within 2 days. It's it sucks. Um, and maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but like it. Here's the thing: it should be kind of hard to eat because your stomach is so full of water, kind of thing. Um, because if you don't do that, and especially if you have salty foods or anything that your body doesn't have enough water to properly dilute, you're gonna get kidney stones, and it's not fun. I did it once, not fun. Do not recommend. So when you first come off your fast, especially like as you're getting your salt levels back up and stuff, you need to make sure you're drinking a absolute ton of water. Um, and it'll, at least for me, it was pretty obvious when like your pee will be like really cloudy and stuff like that. Um, and you can just tell it's like really concentrated with salts, and then you might have like a super concentrated part at the very end, kind of thing. And that's when you're like, oh, and you shouldn't let it get that point, but if it does get to that point, you need to drink like 2 gallons of water now. Um, and so yeah, and then just the first day, keep things simple. Like I would do bone broth and some kind of probiotic, so that could be kombucha, or I would usually do kimchi. And then I usually had like some eggs and stuff. Um, so that it was just to get so for the probiotics because a lot of your gut bacteria, hasn't had food for a couple days, so a lot of it's probably died off. This has helped cultivate a new set of bacteria and get some good gut bacteria going. The um, bone broth is to help rebuild any collagen linings that have potentially degraded from not having food in your system and not having the nutrients to maintain them. And yeah, you can do just the bone. You should probably do the bone broth and the what you call it for like an extended period of time. But I never did. I always just because I'm like I want to eat something solid, so I would usually have like a couple eggs and stuff like that. Once I got off of it. Uh, and then yeah, like by day two, you and just kind of keep the meals light and stuff like that. Day two, you can kind of go back to more normal stuff, and then day three, you should be fine. Um, some people recommend taking it a lot slower. It's probably healthier if you take it a lot slower, but that's what I did. It kind of worked. Uh, Try to keep the carbs to a minimum just because your body's not going to be used to consuming them, and that will help your body transition back into normal caloric intake. Uh, Try to make sure that you have fiber and stuff like that because you're over this time period you probably won't poop at all, or you'll do it once because you don't have things going into your body, and so there's no waste to excrete kind of thing. So that's normal. Don't worry about that. Um, but then when you do start eating again, if you don't eat the right things, you could get plugged up and stuff like that because uh, the normal processes and stuff like that of and things flowing through your body aren't flowing through on a more regular basis like your body is more used to probably. So just be mindful of that. Make sure that you have the proper amount of fiber and stuff in your diet, and you'll be good. Um, and I think that is pretty much it for all the tips and tricks. If there's anything specific that people have questions on this stuff, leave a question or leave a comment. Um, and I can do like I'll either respond to it in the comment section, or if there's like enough of them to warrant a video, I might do a whole video kind of answering some of those questions. But anyway, hopefully you guys found this useful. It's kind of giving me the itch to maybe go give it a try again, but food's delicious, so I don't know. We'll see. Um, anyway, I have been uh, Andrew Norris, and this has been According to Andrew number 15. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you thought it was interesting, and have a good day.